Hello all, John here. Last Christmas I had a great time sharing with you one of my Christmas stories. I did this by posting a small segment of the story every day between the first Sunday of Advent right up through Christmas morning. Now I want to share another one of my Christmas stories with you. It's shorter, so I think we'll do it in one setting. If you can join me for a while, welcome, thank you, and the Christmas Tree Angel. Most people think they know where angels come from. They think that God makes them. I can understand the confusion, but here's how it really works. God makes the stars, you understand, and then whenever a shooting star flies across the evening sky, well, that's another angel being born. Some people say that if you listen closely with all your heart, you can even hear the sound of gentle bells ringing as stardust settles to earth. There may be some truth to that bell business, though I can't say for certain. But I know for sure about the shooting star part. So those beautiful streaks of light you sometimes see high above the horizon, they're just angels taking wing. Now God, He sees all of these angels being born, and He names them, of course, which may add to the confusion. He names every last one of them with beautiful names like Gabriel and Aliares and Eliphol and Treomar. And this is the story of Treomar, the Christmas tree angel. Once upon a very long time ago, there was a beautiful star hanging just below the misty veil of heaven. And just as every little boy and girl born into this world is special, so it is with stars. For when God made this particular star, He knew it would play a critical part not only in the very first Christmas, but in many Christmases to come. So God smiled when He saw that star traveling through the darkness and coming to rest above the manger where Jesus was to be born. He smiled because He knew that this newest angel was just beginning her important work. And that's when He named her Treomar. Treomar flew with serious purpose when she got her wings. A brilliant star to begin with, she grew even brighter as she headed east towards Bethlehem. Some people say it was the love in her heart that made her so radiant. Some, the joy in her soul. Either way, when she arrived over the manger, she was the most dazzling thing the heavens had ever known. And she stayed there several weeks, gently flapping her silken wings and making that holy place for all the world to see. Remember the three kings who came with gifts for the child? Treomar's light led them there. Of course, they didn't know it was an angel hovering up there in the clouds. They thought it was a spectacular star. So did the rest of the world. Like I said before, I can understand the confusion. After Jesus was born and the kings returned to their own lands, things got a bit quieter in the evening sky. Treomar's light grew soft and she flew around the heavens, visiting other angels, baking angel food cakes, eating angel hair pasta. It was a good life, and it would have been enough for most angels. But Treomar knew there was something else of Christmas in her future. And since angels live for a very long time, some people say forever, she was determined to find out what it was. So year after year, come Christmas time, as all the other angels gathered to sing glory to God in the highest, Treomar would quietly hum His praises as she fluttered around the people of earth, trying to understand the rest of the story. She went quietly about her research, never letting anyone see her, since God doesn't take lightly to angel sightings unless He personally approves them. She delighted in the nativity sets that were becoming popular in remembering Jesus' birth, and she smiled as she saw happy children placing stars above these mangers each year, because Treomar knew It wasn't a star at all. It was her. Then came the Christmas trees. It was a tiny German family who brought the first one indoors, and the idea spread quickly. In those early years, everybody topped their trees with stars. Treyomar kept watching and pondering until one Christmas Eve, not that long ago, she figured it out at last. Wouldn't it be nice if people put angels on top of their trees, she thought. She had her wings on that first Christmas after all, and she reasoned that angels might help people to better remember the holy nature of this special time. In an angelic minute, she flew back to heaven and knocked on God's door. He was home, of course. He's always home. She explained her ideas and told him her plan, and when God nodded and gave his approval, she responded with the angel sign for thank you by flapping her wings 2 times, then forming a circle with her hands and placing it over her heart. Returning immediately to earth, she knew exactly where to go. Little Sarah was only 9 and her brother was but 6, but they were good children who believed in the true meaning of Christmas. Treyomar watched the 2 little ones and their parents climb into their horse-drawn sleigh, leaving their big old yellow house as they journeyed deep into the forest in search of their Christmas tree. Treyomar smiled as the family planted 2 small trees next to the one they eventually cut down. Then she watched as the family loaded the 10-foot Scotch pine into their sleigh and headed home, singing carols and laughing and wondering what Father Christmas would be bringing that particular year. After the tree was up, the children's mother went to put the tools away, and the father left to bring the ornament box down from the attic. It was just time enough. As Sarah and Paul looked on, Treyomar came out of the shadows and flew to the very top of the tree. They both saw her at the same time. An angel, they shouted. Mommy, Daddy, come see the angel. The parents returned, but as quickly as Treyomar had appeared, she was gone, leaving the children breathless and filled with the wonder sadly gone from many in the world today. Their excitement went well beyond their reactive imaginations. The detail was too rich, the persistence too sincere, and the father knew that the old tin star that had graced his family's Christmas tree for generations would never have that honor again. Together they sat around the kitchen table and tried to recreate what it was the children had seen. She had yellow hair that looked like sunlight, and it was braided like this, Sarah said, taking her mother's hair into her hands and weaving her fingers this way and that. And her wings were kind of silvery and kind of sparkling. You could see through them, except not really, said Paul. And both children could recall the words the angel had spoken before slipping back into the night. My name, dear ones, is Treyomar, born once upon a shooting star, and years from now I'll yet appear to those who keepeth Christmas dear. Like bells, Mommy, Sarah said. Her voice sounded like tiny bells. And so for hours they worked with tinfoil and yarn and glitter and silken scraps the mother had saved after making her wedding veil. They measured and they cut and they painted and sewed, and they did everything again to be sure they got it right. And as the clock chimed midnight on that snowy Christmas Eve, a beautiful angel was placed on top of the tree. The parents held each other and cried warm, tender tears. The children shone so brightly, they could have been angels too. The aunts and uncles and the rest of the family saw that angel on Christmas Day, and then the neighbors saw it, and then everybody told everybody about it. And before too long, lots of people were making Christmas tree angels and placing them on their trees, until these days, angels are just about everywhere. Sarah and Paul grew up to be wonderful children, wonderful adults who married wonderful people and who then helped their children and their children's children to know the joy of the infant Christ and to believe in Father Christmas and magical things that flutter and go bump in the night. The parents are very old now, of course, but they've still got that first Christmas tree angel. And every Christmas Eve, before the entire family descends on that big old yellow house at the forest's edge, they place it on top of the tree with trembling hands and trembling hearts and talk about the time years after the children moved away that they were certain they saw her wings move. In Treomar, she darts about the Yuletide shadows to this very day, making Christmas tree angels come momentarily to life for young children who know the true meaning of Christmas and for older folks who are still young children at heart. And how do I know these things? Because Sarah is my great-great aunt. Actually, she's not my aunt at all. She's just a really good friend of my great-great-grandma Jenny, and in truth, I've never even met her. But I've heard her story several times over the years, and I've told it to my own tiny daughter so often, I've basically taken it as my own. And this year on Christmas Eve, just hours ago in fact, after we put Marianne to bed, my wife and I looked wistfully at the little porcelain angel on top of our little tree, and well, just hours ago, we were both certain that we saw her smile. Thanks a lot. Peace, John.